The Ministère de l'Agriculture, des Pêcheries et de l'Alimentation, or MAPAQ, in conjunction with various agri-food industry stakeholders, has established a mandatory traceability system and tasked Agri-TraçabilitéQuébec with implementing and managing it. The primary purpose of the system is to protect animal health and public health. Traceability enables more effective action should animal health or food safety problems arise. For example, traceability helps to limit the spread of animal disease or to quickly locate a source of contamination and contain it. Traceability is also aimed at making sure that the food that consumers eat is safe. In addition, Quebec's traceability system meets the requirements of the World Organization for Animal Health, which advocates traceability as a form of control for not only preventing animal health and public health problems, but also for capable crisis management in the food sector and in the international trade it generates. The traceability system has three cornerstones: animal or food identification, premises identification, and monitoring of transits. In Quebec, the system is being introduced gradually. Under the regulation respecting the identification and traceability of certain animals, mandatory identification in Quebec has existed since 2002 for cattle, since 2004 for sheep, and since 2009 for members of the deer family, known as cervids by the industry. The regulation requires that all cattle, sheep, or cervids born or entering Quebec must be identified according to specific standards. All necessary information must be declared by the owners or custodians of the animals subject to the regulation so that it can be entered into a central database within the prescribed deadlines. Anytime livestock is transported, this movement must also be entered, whether the destination is another herd, an animal auction, an agricultural fair, or a slaughterhouse. In order to keep track of these movements, Agri-TraçabilitéQuébec assigns a distinct and separate number to all premises where animals are kept or received. Because of this system, it's now possible to follow an animal throughout its life, from birth to death on the farm or at a slaughterhouse, or right up to the rendering plant. Animal identification and tracing of livestock transits produces an enormous quantity of information from reported data. Data automation provides quality information that can be transferred quickly. Scanners have been developed to meet the specific needs of users. Some producers have even developed their own herd management software to make it easier for them to write up their report and send it to Agri-TraçabilitéQuébec.
Avant ça, on fonctionnait beaucoup avec les tatous.
Before we had the system, we worked a lot with tattoos, but it was a problem because of the quality. The tattoos changed and faded or wore out with age. The new tags and electronics make it easier to keep track of herd performance, genetics, genealogy, the works. Weighing is easier too. With Genovis, weights are taken and recorded automatically, which makes the job easier on that level as well. We have a scanner that works with a Palm Pilot so that we can enter the information, relay it to the computer, then send it to ATQ for the reports we have to produce. The scanner also works with the electronic scale. These tools have made our job a lot easier. All we have is a small Palm Pilot, and when we come in for the day, we transfer the info to the computer and then send it directly to where it needs to go. Traceability helps us to be accurate on the farm. The scanner that reads the microchip sends the information directly to the computer and then to Agri-Traçabilité by internet. We sidestep a lot of mistakes this way. It's easier to keep tabs on the farm and it's more accurate. We save loads of time and we can export. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency won't allow animals to be exported if there's no traceability. So for us, it's a pretty good deal. Added value? Well, because Because of traceability, we now have contracts with the Japanese. We've learned to work with the system. At first, we had to adapt, but now we wouldn't be able to get along without it because it's a tool that really helps us with accuracy, and it's a time saver. Generally speaking, Quebec's traceability system requires 2 ear tags for livestock, specifically a chip tag and a printed tag. Both tags are assigned the same number that is the only one of its kind across Canada. Cattle tags are white and sheep and cervid tags are yellow. The number is like a password for any place where our animals have to be identified, in the herd book, the milk recording program, or for insemination. The animals have a single number all their own, anytime identification's needed. The chip tag makes information entry easier and quicker. By using the wand and chip system, I'd say that the time it takes to identify animals is cut by practically 2/3. Basically, the whole process is simpler and I spend less time handling the animals so they can be identified. Here, the fawns are identified at birth. We have about 24 hours. The only way fawns have to defend themselves is camouflage. We sort of sneak up on them, and they're lying there trying to hide. So we move slowly, put the ear tags on, match them up with the mother's number, and we're in business. The system is here to stay, for sure. Cattle born in Quebec are identified within 7 days of birth or before leaving the farm of origin, whichever comes first. More time is allowed for pasture-born beef cattle. Cattle from outside Quebec are identified as soon as they reach their destination in Quebec, unless they already have the required tags. The deadline for sheep is 30 days after birth or before they leave the farm, whichever comes first. Cervids must be identified no later than December 31st of their birth year. The required information, such as the animal's identification number and date of birth, must be sent to the database within the prescribed deadlines. Registration of the date of birth of livestock gives Quebec producers an edge on export markets. Discovery of cases of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE for short, in Canada changed trade and led to more effective uses of databases in Quebec, especially for providing critical information to veterinarians and others involved in exporting meat and livestock. In the same vein, knowing the date of birth of the animals is useful for slaughterhouses when food for human consumption or animal food containing high-risk tissue, namely specified risk material or SRM, is recalled.
La traçabilité chez Québec, la façon ça fonctionne.
At Colbeck's, traceability works like this. First, we get livestock shipments from auctions or producers, and we start forming the lots. There's a terminal for generating the lots in the barn. Later in the production line, we assign animals to the lots. We read the ATQ tag and put the animal in the lot. If a disease is detected in an animal, either on the farm or on site, we can trace back the animal and/or the parts and know exactly where they are landed on the production line or at our distributors. Since we got the new contract with Japan, steers are cut up here at the slaughterhouse, so there's an extra traceability step for us. Nowadays, we can pinpoint exactly which farm a product came from because we have boxes with the production lot indicated, and these production lots for cutting are linked with the animals, generally from the same farm. That way, we know which producer the box came from. Our next project is to put these products on Quebec plates. The efficiency we're able to get in terms of productivity and traceability is our calling card for niche markets, and we owe it all to traceability. I think it's an important tool for the industry today, and no way would we go back to the old system. In the spring of 2005, MAPAQ developed a computer tool called Agri-Trace, designed to query and use the information in the databanks managed by Agri-TraçabilitéQuébec. Thanks to Vigitrace, MAPAQ can conduct tracking and epidemiological surveillance and monitor for compliance with the regulation. Information about the movement of livestock also makes it easier to conduct operations in crisis situations. A rapid response is crucial in the event of an epidemic. Used in conjunction with MAPAQ's Geomatics tool, Vigitrace enables fast and effective action in crises or epidemics. For example, the source of infection can be located, a history of the movement of animals suspected can be pieced together, the animals that the infected cattle, sheep, or cervids were in contact with can be found, and risk zones can be delimited. With traceability, the economic impacts of epidemics are sizably reduced, as are the risks for human health in the case of zoonotic diseases, the term for animal diseases that can be transmitted to humans. No use pretending. At first, the traceability system was demanding for Quebec producers. But now scores of them use it as a management tool, notably for overseeing the activities of their operation and for keeping herd books or animal health records. Livestock auction markets in particular see the benefits of traceability with its electronic data entry, which lightens the tasks of auction workers and makes it less likely for errors to occur. If you want to talk about added value, then you're looking at places like auctions, where registering the animals at the unloading dock is really speeded up. If you want to use our site here at St. Isidore, things go really fast, and that has advantages for producers who don't stand around waiting, which means more cash register action down the line. No more transcription errors ever because information is entered automatically when the livestock go past the scanners. And now we can also add other information to the identifier, which is good for producers and buyers too, things like the age of the animal. Buyers can form herds that are more and more homogeneous age-wise, and by knowing the age, they can deal with or comply with all the rules and regulations on foreign export.
Et aussi, en connaissant l'âge, de faire face à toutes les règles et les lois qui régissent l'exportation à l'étranger.